Hi, this is Debonair Kovacs. The quality of this video is not going to be as good, but there's a good reason for that. This is today's March 2020, as I'm reading this, and we've had an unexpectedly really warm couple days. And so, for the fun of it, I thought I would spend the night in my I have a permanent campsite, and maybe I'll see if I can show you. It's a great big old Army surplus tent, and I've got it set up with a bed and a table and everything. And it's right beside a little creek, which is practically overflowing right now. And the light's pretty poor because it's raining. So I'm going to read it from here anyhow. This is number 21 of 40 Ways My Labyrinth is Like My Life. It needs better boundaries to keep the dogs from galloping through. When I wrote this Twitter post, I had two Great Danes. They loved it when I took them into the field that I call Prayer Park. It's supposed to have a gazebo and a rose garden and all sorts of stuff besides Labyrinth. You've figured out that I like to dream, right? They also loved galloping and had no clue that those little plants under their giant feet or tiny whips of trees that came up to their belly didn't like being galloped on. I kept planning to fence the labyrinth so they could gallop around it but not through it, and of course it never got done. Since then, my dogs have been a Pomeranian, now buried in the labyrinth, an old Cocker Spaniel, two tiny Chihuahuas. That's when I wrote this, that was all. But since then, there's also been a Border Collie, and right now I have a Lab Mix. So it's less of an issue, which might make the whole analogy even more pertinent. Like many of us, I grew up with a poor concept of personal boundaries. I tended to either keep up the stone walls and razor wire or share way too much. If I felt drawn to someone, perhaps someone I'd just met, but under supposedly safe circumstances like at church, I might spill all kinds of personal beans. Yet when I began the long inward journey with my pastor counselor, I had a truly terrible time getting up the courage to tell him things I'd never in my life told anyone, but which needed to be opened up to some trustworthy person if I was ever to be well. You don't have to tell me, he'd say gently, but you need to think about telling someone. Think about? Thinking about I could do. Thinking about telling, I mean. I couldn't think about the actual thing. I planned on protecting even myself from that reality, at least until heaven. Stone walls, razor wire, machine guns, maybe a missile silo. I want to stay safe, I pleaded. Beloved, you only think you're safe. You are the one imprisoned inside. You let everyone tramp through and hurt you. This hurt my feelings. I did not let everyone tramp through. My walls just weren't high enough, thick enough, deep enough yet. Was this a good time to add the missile silo? God was the one who breached the wall, of course. God had always lived inside the prison with me, bless the holy name. But getting me out was a long and delicate process even for the Almighty. I went through 9 nights with almost no sleep during the battle, but when it became abundantly clear that it was definitely God who wanted me to tell the truth, and there was certainly no one else. Sorry, the rain is getting to me. There was certainly no one else to whom I would even consider telling it besides my pastor. Then I girded my loins and obeyed, terror and pain notwithstanding. You can't live with God for long, even inside a prison, without learning to obey, because you can trust it to come out well. So the walls were breached. The strongholds came down, 2 Corinthians 10:4. New, beautiful walls and watchtowers, safe but not overwhelming, are being built, Isaiah 54:11 and 12. I knew all this stuff theoretically. I'd written about it in that book, Gardens of the Soul. Living it was a lot harder. But I'm here to tell you the breaching and rebuilding were hard, but life is a lot easier now. Honestly, it really is. So, question. You don't need boundaries against little cute dogs, right? Only against big, strong ones? Or does God desire to give us, to change the analogy, perfect gospel armor at all times? Ephesians 6:10 and the following verses. Impervious to the enemy's flamethrowers, but fully open to grace, love, and light, and along with the armor, the wisdom to know which is which. Good luck with all of your wall breaching and new wall building and good boundaries. And may you have as blessed a time as I'm having right now out in rainy nature. See you next time.